Now you're dead. Welcome to the Bronze Metalist podcast. I don't know why I decided to sing the intro. Hi, my name's Kale.
And my name is Jaryn.
And
Up. Guess whose turn it is this week to take over the podcast? It's my turn. Look at me.
I'm looking.
I'm the captain now.
I am so scared right
captain.
now. Are you the commander?
I am the commander. I've never seen Captain Phillips.
No, I'm talking about the Uganda Knuckles memes.
Okay, yeah.
Do we?
It is my turn to take over the podcast, so strap in, everybody. After a break, kind of on my part, I was traveling over winter break, and so it was really hard to do the pod. So
How dare you have a life?
I'm sorry. It's
How
my girlfriend.
dare
Blame
you.
my girlfriend.
I can't. I met her the last time we recorded in person. She's very nice, so
Yes, she is very nice.
I can't be mad at her.
Yes, but it is my turn, so strap in and get ready. Today we are going over Sun Eater. But first, I suppose I should introduce kind of the Bronze Medalist podcast. We are a podcast that goes over metal, and I'm a beginner, but this week I get to take over because, I don't know, Kale must have went crazy.
I decided that it was time for you to wow us with everything you've learned over the last month and a half.
Yes.
So, yeah, this episode, you guys get to hear Jaryn's voice for basically an entire half hour instead of mine.
Yes.
Maybe this was entirely engineered so I wouldn't have to talk the whole thing like usual. We've got some other stuff to discuss first. Like we said, we're back from Christmas break, and I suppose we got some cool gifts.
Yeah, I got what did I get for Christmas? I got a stabilizer, a motorized gimbal.
Oh, for your camera.
Yes.
Was it that cool thing that Lee has?
Yep, it's the same one that Lee has.
I also have a cool thing. Lee, by the way, is our one of our advisors here at the broadcast department. He works for an ad agency. He's got all kinds of cool gadgets and gizmos for cameras. I also got something that he has. Tascam. I don't remember the designation. Basically, it's a block that I can plug microphones into that are too big to put into my DSLR, which is fun.
Yes, and which is also most mics that I've bought. They're too big to clip into my DSLR.
Well, and like most decent mics that are also cheap are XLR mics. Like the ones that we're using are fine, but they're like $20.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to find a decent microphone that has like a 3.5 millimeter jack instead of XLR or stereo is it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's tough.
For $20 is not going to happen.
Got to spend the moolah.
Yes, like I did on all this stuff we record on. We don't listen to it on
I listen to things through microphones.
I mean, technically you can. A microphone can be turned into a speaker and vice versa. You would have to ask like an electrician. I'm sure Chris Brown would know. Our other advisor, not the rapper.
Yes. No, it's the rapper. The rapper,
yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sure Chris Brown, and the rapper probably knows.
Do you think he has that sort of like audio engineering acumen?
I think he's got the money to find out, to hire somebody else.
I suppose, yeah, he would be able to, wouldn't he? So what else did you get?
A lot of cool clothes. I'm not normally a clothes guy, like on Christmas morning. And I love all the clothes that I get, but it's just like something about I still want to be a kid and open up like a train set or something like that. And, just like the imagination. But this year I was like extremely happy with all the clothes I got. Yeah. So
me too. It's really similar with me. I got a new coat. This flannel that I'm wearing is one that I got for Christmas. What else did I get? I got a couple movies, but that's pretty much it, which is fine by me. I'm also the same way about like still wanting some sort of a toy. Like Legos are always appreciated with me because I love the act of just putting them together. There's something relaxing about it. I still have those tubs right down there are Legos, and that big box over in our old recording space is also full of Legos. Speaking of old recording space,
we're in a real room this time.
Yeah, we're 5 feet away from where we normally record, which is in my walk-in closet / sink room in my apartment. And now we're just in my bedroom in my apartment because it's more open and I was lazy.
And we're stepping up in the world. This is the next step.
This is the next step for us?
Yeah.
Is my bedroom instead of my walk-in closet?
Yep, pretty soon we'll be out in the living room of the apartment, and then who knows, out in the hallway maybe.
Just get progressively echoier.
Yes.
I like it. I like that idea.
Soon we'll be in a cave. All the echo we need.
Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. Anything else interesting happened to you over the break?
Found out, this is really cool. I found out over spring break that I will be in Hawaii.
You're going to Hawaii?
Yes, and I do not travel. Like, I go nowhere outside of the state. But my girlfriend's uncle lives in Hawaii, and he offered to give us his condo.
So you got the hookup.
Yeah, so we only have to pay for flights down there, and that's it.
Nice.
Yes.
So who's all going? Is it your whole family, or is it just...
It's just the two of us.
Oh, no, Jaryn.
Yeah, it's scandalous, to say the least.
That's an absolute outrage.
I know.
That sort of thing can't happen here in conservative North Dakota.
I know.
How
I called
dare
my
you.
mom and I told her about it, and the only thing she said to me was, she's like, "Screw you."
not even like be responsible.
Yeah.
Don't get in trouble. Don't
she's
trash
just
the
mad
place.
that I get to go to Hawaii and she doesn't.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anything else before we get going? Before you get going?
Yes, I think we should dive headfirst into this.
Dive head first into Job for a Cowboy.
Yes. So this album was Job for a Cowboy. What did you think of it?
I've listened to this album before, and I've listened to pretty much all Job for a Cowboy work going back to their first EP before, and this one's a lot different than their other albums. It's a lot slower and more progressive. They tend to have a bit of a quicker pace on their earlier work. Mm-hmm. But this one is progressive. That's, that term is a crutch, I think, when trying to describe music that sounds different than the normal of the genre. But that's really the best that I got. I do like it quite a bit. Generally, it's a little too slow for my everyday listening tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I found recently a grindcore playlist on Spotify that has 6,000 songs.
Holy cow.
And I've been jamming to that for the last couple of days. And other than some of the super duper lo-fi stuff, that sort of music is really my jam. And then to go from that to, Job for a Cowboy, or at least Sun Eater, was a little bit jarring to me when I re-listened to it today, because we were originally going to record earlier. But yeah, I do like it. My favorite song on the album is probably A Global Shift, because that one is more like standard Job for a Cowboy. Mm-hmm. It's a bit speedier. It's a bit more technical rather than more progressive, which is definitely where my tastes lean. But generally, I like the album.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Some of the stuff you said, I'll mention later on in kind of my report of everything. Okay. So Sun Eater, this is the fourth album by the American death metal band Job for a Cowboy, and it was released in November of 2014.
Yes.
So it does have some age on it.
A little bit.
And not in comparison to some of the other albums that we listened to.
Not in comparison to Effigy of the Forgotten. It's not as old as Effigy of the Forgotten.
Yes.
But I suppose it's got a couple years on it now.
It's just weird to me, because when I put myself in the mindset of 2014, I think of all the pop songs that were out, which really dates it.
And the weird thing, because it's been 4 years now. Well, I don't know when in the year it came out, but it's going to be 4 years sometime this year since they've put out an album, but they're still going strong and touring and stuff. So it's like, what the hell has Job for a Cowboy been up to?
Yeah. Just having fun, I suppose.
They're just having fun.
This album opened up to a very warm reception, scoring an average of about 8 out of 10 from all the critics that I looked at. The album managed to crack the U.S. Billboard Top 200 at the 91 spot.
Hey.
So, I mean, it's technically in the top 100, but the top 200 is the board. It sold over 3,900 albums in the first week, and it ranked the highest on the top hard rock albums at number 6. So out of all the lists that it made, it was number 6 was the highest on that list.
Nice. Good for Job for a Cowboy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this album's doing pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Their 3 previous albums, as you were kind of mentioning earlier, are Genesis, and that was in 2006, Ruination in 2008, and Demonocracy in 2012.
Yep. There is also perhaps what is still one of their most famous releases, and the thing that has gotten probably the majority of people who listen to Job for a Cowboy into Job for a Cowboy in the first place is an EP that came out in 2005. It was their first release. It's called Doom, and that one's quite a bit different than their other work because that one is deathcore, very, very much so, like mid-2000s deathcore. That was back when they started out on MySpace. I don't know how much you go into the history of the band, but they were one of the first big, like, MySpace deathcore bands that got successful. And then pretty immediately after Doom came out and they started getting popular, they switched from deathcore to more straight-up death metal. The sound, like, their deathcore, their version of the deathcore sound was not that different because there are so many different camps of deathcore. Some of it is like the super clean technical stuff. Some of this is some of it can be described as like the dubstep of metal music. This was not that. This was, I think, very much just death metal with breakdowns, and then they did away with the breakdowns for the most part and started playing standard death metal with Genesis, which is a really good album, by the way. But sorry, I said I wasn't going to talk all that much.
That's
this
okay.
episode,
And I was going to say, this is where the difference is, folks. You know, like when you're telling me, I can't have nothing to say, but I like this because you fill in the gaps that I miss. This album, and this is kind of going back to what you were saying, this album was really special because it marked a huge shift in the sound of the band. And I quote, they moved to a more progressive music style, which is what you were saying.
Yeah, that term is... like I said, it's a bit of a crutch for anybody that has to write about music or comment on any sort of musical style. I think that term is absolutely a crutch. And it's one that's accurate, but it's one that a lot of people tend to turn to when they can't find any other adjectives to use.
It's just an easy placeholder.
Oh, it's progressive. We'll just call it that and say it's good.
The band members included Johnny Davis as their vocalist.
Johnny Davey.
Johnny Davey?
Yeah, it's Johnny Davey.
Whoops.
That man, I'll talk about that man a little bit later. Continue, though.
All right. Tony, these are hard names to say. I feel your pain. San Incarndro? Do you know how to say his name?
I don't.
All right.
The only band member that I really know much about is Johnny Davey.
Okay. And so Tony and Al Glassman were on the guitar. And Nick, oh, geez Louise, these names are hard, so I apologize. Shenendiolos?
Come on, Jaryn, you're a broadcast
I am
student.
a broadcast
You should have
student.
practiced these beforehand.
I am so sorry. But Nick was on the bass. They had Danny Walker as a session musician for this album, and he was on his drums.
Okay.
Some of the other people that were on some of the songs was George Corpse Grinder Fisher.
From Cannibal Corpse.
Yep, he provided vocals for the song The Synthetic Sea.
I guess I don't... I mean, I listened to it earlier today, but I guess I didn't really pick out... Usually, I'm good at picking out Corpse Grinder's features.
Yeah.
He was also featured on the Suffocation album we listened to.
Was he really?
He was on 2 different songs on there.
I think you might have said that.
Yep.
And Jason Sukoff played a guitar solo on the song Son of Nihility.
Hey, good job. You pronounced that right.
Did I?
Yeah, nihility refers to nihilism.
Okay.
Which is a philosophy that suggests that life has no intrinsic meaning.
Okay. Well, good. I just totally jumped off the deep end and went for it.
Yeah. Hey, you took a risk and it paid off.
Thank you. The album art was done by Tony Cole. That's kind of what I found as far as a general overview of this album. Okay. So let's talk about Johnny Davey.
Yeah, Johnny Davey is a really interesting guy. I don't know much about his personal life, other than what's available on Wikipedia or anything like that. I don't know anything about the guy, and I'm not going to hunt for that sort of information. But when they started, there's a picture that you can find if you just search Job for a Cowboy. There's a picture that you can find of the band when they were in their MySpace era, when they first started making music, and they've all got the most 2005 emo haircuts and straightened hair.
Yeah.
And none of them have tattoos. They're all skinny as hell. And then you look at them now, and like they did away with that sort of style, and Johnny Davey started like around 2007, you can find live performances, and a lot of them have already got tattoos and piercings and stuff. Johnny Davey remained extremely skinny up until I think about like 2012. And then all of a sudden, he just turned into a monster. Like, he started working out and apparently actually eating for once in his life. And I don't know how tall he is, but he's huge. He's not necessarily like super cut or anything.
Yeah.
But he is the kind of dude where you look at him and go, I would not fuck with him. He's got long hair and a beard, and he is just an intimidating looking guy. By all accounts, a very nice guy. And there is a performance that me and my friend Mason really like and refer to constantly when we talk about Johnny Davey, which is he performed in the Mitch Lucker Memorial Show. Mitch Lucker was the vocalist of a band called Suicide Silence, that's a can of worms that I don't want to get into. At the time, they were a decent deathcore band. But anyway, a lot of vocalists that he was friends with or they had toured with or counted as inspirations got together to perform a memorial show for him, and the proceeds went to his daughter's college funds.
Okay.
He performed the first song of the night, and there is a part in that performance where he opens up his mouth like a snake unhinging its jaw and just unleashes one of the most absolutely brutal growls I've ever heard. Like, he opens his mouth so wide and it's so low. It is absolutely mind-boggling how great that vocal was. And, like, he's generally... A lot of the performances that night were great. Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel had another amazing performance, but that one just sticks out because of the way the camera is focused on him is just so... His mouth is so wide open, and it's frightening. The man looks like he could swallow like a person whole. An intimidating-looking guy, but by all accounts... very nice, and certainly the kind of guy that I would like to meet and hang out with. He seems like he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times those big, like, intimidating guys, like those muscle heads, or just those walls of men are pretty nice guys.
There's a lot of, like, especially amongst younger bands, there's a lot of prevalence of like bodybuilder culture in metal. A lot of guys that are really into exercise and that sort of thing, which is... It kind of makes me jealous because I wish I had that sort of dedication to anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of that sort of stuff.
And that's crazy because I don't think a lot of people would ever, like, in their minds make that connection of, like, they think of kind of those, like you were saying, really skinny guys. And then...
Either, like, skinny guys or, like, big old dudes or that sort of thing, like heavier old dudes. Like, Corpse Grinder is not a thin man. He's an amazing vocalist, but he's not a thin man. I don't even know how old he is. He's got to be in his late 40s by now. But yeah, you either think of like kind of chubby older dude, or like this really skinny like 20-something with neck tattoos, and then there's all these vocalists that are just these huge, absolute units.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? So what else did you find out about Job for a Cowboy?
As far as Job for a Cowboy, or Sun Eater, I mean, I found out, and I guess I knew this, but every time I would look up something about Sun Eater, it would take me to a DC Comics page because a Sun Eater is an alien that Superman finds.
Interesting.
That eats suns. And so I did read up a little bit about that. He finds a baby Sun Eater and feeds it sunlight that he makes synthetically in the Fortress of Solitude.
Okay, so I know that Superman is like powered by sunlight or whatever. But how does Superman make sunlight?
I didn't read that part. I know. I've read. It's an All-Star Superman is the comic that I've read.
Interesting.
And he doesn't go into the science of it, but he basically like pounds off. He like finds what nutrients that are like in sunlight that this thing eats, and then he just like cooks it into like a tangible, like at one point he goes over there with a hammer and just like knocks a piece off and then just like throws it to the Sun Eater and eats it.
A piece of sunlight.
Yeah, like it looks like a big rock in the comic.
Because that science works.
Yes, the sun is just a big rock.
Yeah, that you can hack off pieces of. Absolutely. I I don't know if that's necessarily related to the album in the sense that but a lot of people in death metal are also massive nerds. Corpse Grinder, if you look up a picture of him, he's got a horde tattoo from World of Warcraft, and he apparently plays World of Warcraft quite a bit. Black metal especially. Once you look past the cases of murder and church burnings and whatnot, a lot of these guys are people that grew up obsessed with Lord of the Rings and that sort of thing, and fantasy culture. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. They're 5 feet away from me is a stack of Dungeons and Dragons books. So yeah, a lot of people in metal in general, I would say, are big old nerds. Yeah. And if they aren't, it kind of swings pretty hard in the other direction of guys that are potentially opposed to that sort of geekisms. That's not a word, but
it is now. It was said on a podcast. Anything said on a podcast is a real word.
Geekisms. Someone's probably said that before. Maybe on a podcast. I don't know.
I guess, especially like first coming into this, you have to remember that these people like have lives, and that they have a lot of, I'm sure, downtime, like touring, like going place to place. So they have to have something to keep them entertained, and I think they can't always be on like level 10 of like death metal, like going for it. Yeah,
there's got to be other parts of your life, and I think definitely once your band is large enough for your label, if you have a label, once your band have the amount of clout to get like a tour bus or something, I think definitely there's got to be a lot of downtime after that point. Before then, someone's always got to be driving the van, and you're unloading your own stuff constantly. But once you've got that van or that tour bus, I imagine things have to get a little bit easier. I don't know if Job for a Cowboy is at that level of being able to have a tour bus. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot lately about being in a band and what that would be like. I wanted to be in a band forever and ever and ever, and I was doing vocals on my own, and then I hurt my vocal cords in a way they were not supposed to be hurt. I still haven't gone to see an ENT about it, which I should, but oh well. I'm only a guy who makes his living on his vocal cords.
That's
so
true. Who cares if they go out?
Yeah.
Just Morse code on the mic for the podcast. I'll say something, and then clack, 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 clack.
There we go. Clack, clack. I could get just get them removed, and then have one of these. I don't remember what they're called. But speaking of like being in a band, I've got some buddies. They're in a band called Opposition Out, and they have an EP that I believe they already released. They are having a release show at Pangea House, and I've been saying that I need to drag you to a metal show so you can see what it's all about. Do you want to do that?
I will be in Des Moines, Iowa.
Damn it, Jaryn!
I know. We'll call down to Pangea House and be like, hey, just bump everything back a day.
I'll talk to Chris and be like, hey, tell the band that you have to reschedule their release party for their very big achievement that they've done. I will be going regardless. So for those of you out there who live in Minot or the North Dakota area and you want to go see an awesome band at an awesome metal show, January 26th, Pangea House in Minot. Look it up.
You can meet Kale.
Yeah, you can meet me.
Post a picture of him and tag us in it.
I think most of the people that listen to this podcast I already know, so it's not going to be...
Well, you're a celebrity now because you have a podcast.
I'll be an even bigger celebrity, and you can meet the guys from Opposition Out. They're all cool. There's going to be other bands there. I'm not sure who yet. I could probably check to see if they've gotten some other bands around there. Last time that I saw them, they were with this really good hardcore band called Spite Nap, this other hardcore band from Bismarck, Sequences, whose shirt I'm wearing right now. Not the flannel. the shirt I'm wearing underneath it is a Sequences shirt. They're really good. Well, who else was there? Oh, Deremption, which is a metal band from Minot, here in Minot. And they're really cool. So hopefully I'll get to see those guys again. That was really fun. And last time they pulled me up on stage to sing with them, scream with them. And
will you sing with them again if they ask, even with your hurt vocal cords?
Well, hell yeah. I did last time, and that was already when I had nodes or whatever's going on. I can do it like once. I can do like one song.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm spent. I tasted blood last time, which was bad, but I got over it pretty quick.
It's also metal, though. I feel like
that's pretty metal.
That is pretty metal.
Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth has a story about recording one of the first Bloodbath albums, and apparently when they were in the middle of recording, I don't know if he was drunk or something, but he like threw up and there was like blood. Like he threw up on the wall of the recording booth and there was like blood in it or something, and it sounded like the most metal thing ever to hear him tell the story. Any final comments, I guess?
I'm sorry that we kind of took a little 2-week hiatus.
Yeah.
That's a word that comes up a lot.
Hiatus. Yes. Hiatus does come up quite a bit in metal discussions. Yeah. Sorry about that. Scheduling just didn't quite work out, and Jaryn was on the road. And last time we had some technical issues trying to get that episode about Obscura recorded. So, we had some problems. And now this was supposed to be the finale of Death Metal December.
We're bringing in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
I forgot
New
to
Year.
say that at the top.
A late Christmas present for you. Yeah, next week we'll probably come at you with... I'll probably go with an Opeth album, or I might... We've been listening to... So here's an idea. We've been listening to a lot of really heavy and extreme albums so far. I think I'm going to dial it back a little bit.
Okay.
Next week, I'm going to have you listen to Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater. It's the only Dream Theater album that I am more than passingly familiar with, listening to it more than once. Dream Theater is not technically my style usually, but I really, really like Scenes from a Memory, and I would love to know what you think about it. So, for those of you who are interested in listening to it as well, and for you especially, Jaryn, because this one is going to be a bit more book report-like for you.
All right.
Scenes from a Memory is one of the first concept albums that they put out. It has a very well-defined concept and story to the album. There are no extreme vocals on the album, so you'll probably be able to understand the lyrics a bit better. And I would like basically a book report on the story from you next week.
I will do it.
All right. That would be much appreciated if you could do that. Now I am the master once more.
No.
The master has returned.
My time of power was up so quickly.
Yes, how the turntables. You like that?
I like that.
Okay. I guess one last order of business. If you like this podcast, please follow us and like us on Facebook. We are at the Bronze Metalist Podcast. We also have a Twitter and an Instagram. If you search Bronze Metalist, then you'll find us. If you like any of that sort of thing, please follow us. I haven't updated the Instagram in a while. I'll probably be doing some videos and pictures at that show. If you like any of that sort of stuff, if you want updates, if you want maybe some funny memes that we find, or links to the albums we listen to, or just my general music tastes or something, I might start posting on there. Give us a follow.
Yeah, rate us on iTunes if
yes,
you listen
please.
on iTunes, because that helps make us more visible to all the metalheads out there that don't know about us.
Yes, and please give us a listen on iTunes. I know I post the Libsyn link usually, but if you prefer to get your podcasts from iTunes, subscribe to us there. It'll download to your phone or your iPod automatically. Give us a listen on there, because iTunes is really kind of where a lot of podcasts live, so that would help us out greatly. All right, now that the plugging is out of the way, it's time for us to end. It's time for the Jedi to end.
That's impossible.
We're both Luke. How does that work?
I don't know.
Are you astrally projecting?
Yep.
Spoilers. If you haven't seen The Last Jedi. Anyway, my name's Kale.
My name's Jaryn.
And this has been Bronze Metalist. Tagline pending.
Tagline pending.